Okay, hello. So this is the very first set of notes for this school year. So let's go through and we're going to look at points, lines, and planes. And we're going to keep it simple and straight to the definitions, okay? So let me get my pen set up so that it's not writing super thick. And let's change the color so that it is visible. All right, so here we go. So our first definition for points, lines, and planes. So the term is point. The definition of a point is it has no dimension. And I'm going to type this in so that y'all can read it actually, because sometimes my handwriting is not the best. So it has no dimension, and that is a really, really big font. So let's see if we can make it a little smaller. That might be too small. So let's try 20. All right, 20 looks good. All right, so it has no dimension or size, okay? And it is represented by a point. So apparently I'm going to have to change the size on all of these. All right, so there we go. So no dimension, no size, and it is represented by a point. A picture of such thing will be point A. It will always be a capital letter. So point A is how it is read, and it is always a capital letter. All right, a line. A line is represented by two arrowhead. It extends forever in two directions. So it will look something like this, an arrow on both ends, and there will be two or more points. So I would call this line BC, or maybe I want to call it CB. So BC or CB, either way doesn't matter. Also, please note that there will be times where they're going to give you like a lowercase cursive letter. So there may be a lowercase cursive letter there, and this would just be called line L, okay? So just be aware that I can name it by 2 points or this lowercase script letter, okay? A line segment, it ends on both sides, okay? It's just going to end on both sides. For example, it's going to look something like this. So you're just going to have 2 dots on the end where it starts and where it stops. So I may call this DE, or maybe I want to call it ED. Either way, okay? Now, array. Array is kind of a combination of a line and a line segment because it ends on one side, okay? It's going to end on one side, but it's going to extend forever on the other side. So it's going to look something like, and I'll change the colors up here a little bit just so they don't overlap. So it's going to end on one side, and that's where you start, and it's going to go forever on the other. So if I wanted to call this FG, then I would name this ray FG. And you don't get an option to call it GF because you have to start where it ends. Okay, so this is not GF. And you always want to make sure you're using the proper symbol over the top. All right, the next thing is called an opposite ray. Opposite rays are two rays that share an endpoint. They will make a line. So it is going to look something like this. So you're going to have this line, so it has to have the arrows on both ends. They're going to share an endpoint, but then there has to be these other 2 points. So this would be ray IH that goes this way. So IH, so ray IH. And then there's going to be ray IJ, which goes this way. And ray IJ. So those are your two rays. Okay. All right, so now let's moving on here. Now we have a plane. Okay, so a plane is a flat surface. All right. So it extends forever and ever. So it extends without an end in two dimensions. So it extends forever in two dimensions, so all directions. And it's always in geometry going to be represented by a quadrilateral. So it will look something like this. Okay. So this is going to be extending forever. So it's going to go on and on and on forever in two dimensions, all directions. It is a flat surface and it has no thickness. Okay, it has no thickness. So it's going to be three random points. So K, L, M. So when I'm naming this, I'm going to call it plane K, L, M. So you can just pick any 3 points, any order that you want. Maybe you want to call it KML or LKM, any combination. Now, also, there may be a capital cursive letter, so I may call this plane R, okay? So it can be named by the capital letter that's in the corner. This is not a point, okay? A point has to have a dot with it. So this is not a point. This is just a name. It's an abbreviation, okay? Now space. Space includes all points, lines, planes, etc. So you may have like a coordinate plane, okay? That is occupying a space. So we have a letter out here. We have a letter here. We have all of these points in this space. And I'm running out of space as I do this. And there's no way to name it, okay? There's nothing that goes here. This is just the definition of space, okay? It includes all points, lines, and planes. So it includes everything. So the space that you're in. So collinear, this is a collection of points that are on the same line. So if I were going to draw a line here, and let me extend this out. So I'm going to put some points here. So you've got 3 or more points. 2 points are always collinear. So maybe make yourself a little side note over here. 2 points are always collinear, are always collinear. Now, I told you my handwriting is kind of bad, so but it's, I think, faster than trying to type it. All right, so we've got point T, point U, and point V. So these 3 points are collinear because they're on the same line, okay? And there's no way to name it. It's just a definition. Now, coplanar works the same way, except with points. So coplanar, these are going to be points and lines. So if you're on the same plane, so points and lines that are on the same plane. So for example, if you live in a 2-story house and everyone is on the 2nd story, then you would be considered coplanar with everyone on the 2nd floor. You would not be coplanar with people on the 1st floor because they're on a different plane. So if we were to draw a plane here, so I'm going to draw a plane, and we're going to say we've got this segment right here. So this is point XY, so this would be segment XY. Point Z is collinear, and then this ray, and then we got this point W over here. So we have a segment, we have a ray, we have a point. All of these things are coplanar with one another because they're all in this plane together. Now, an intersection is a place where two or more lines or planes meet. So if I wanted to draw, okay, let me start over for just a second here. So an intersection is the place where 2 or more lines or planes meet. So if I have this line right here, okay, So this line's going this way, and then if I have another line going through this way, then this intersection point is where they meet. If you have two planes intersecting, it's going to look a little different. You could think about like, let's see, if I have this plane here, and let's say that it's intersecting this plane here. So I've got plane P and plane R. So these two planes are intersecting at this line right here. So we'll call this line M, just to keep it simple, okay? So if you'll notice, the lines, they intersect at a point, while the planes are intersecting at a line, okay? So that's how those work. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to give all the possible names for the following things, okay? So this is a line, so we're going to call this line AB because you pick the 2 points, any 2 points, or maybe I want to call it BA. So it could be line AB or line BA. Also, there's that cursive P, okay? So we could also call this line P. All right, so it could be called line P. All right, so here we have a plane, and this plane has a lowercase m here, so I could call this plane M, or any combination of 3 letters. So CDE, CED, DCE, so DCE, DEC, EDC, ECD. So any combination, it doesn't matter, they're all correct. Okay, now this is ray, so since it's a ray, because you have one arrow and one end, starting with the end, and then the other letter. And then your arrow is just a typical arrow. It goes the same direction every time when you're naming it. It doesn't matter which way it's pointing in the picture. All right, what is the intersection? So the intersection of these two would be point H. That's the only intersection. This is a plane, and there's a line that goes through it. So think of a piece of paper and you stick a pencil through. It's intersecting right here at this point. So this is point M. And then here are those 2 planes I was talking about. So you got a plane going this way, and then you got a plane going this way. So think about kind of like 2 index cards slid together. They're going to intersect at this line right here. So they're intersecting at line QR. So they're intersecting at line QR. All right. Now here it says to name 3 collinear points. So remember, collinear means they're all on the same line. So D, E, and F. So D, E, and F. Okay, D, E, and F are all collinear. Now name 3 things that are coplanar. So for example, point G is coplanar with line DE, and let's see, point F. So point F is also coplanar. So this point, and this line are all on the same plane. These 3 points, D, E, and F, those are all collinear. Collinear, same line. Coplanar, same plane. All right, so over here we're going to match the term with the symbol. So we have a line. A line has the 2 arrows. So a line is going to go with 2 arrows. A line segment has no arrows. A ray has 1 arrow. So that's going to be this one here. And then this is none, okay? Your your arrow for your ray is not going to point this direction, okay? It's always going to go this way. So that's just textbook. All right. So now we have some postulates. Postulates are um, basically definitions or words that don't have definitions. So let's go through here. So through any 2 points, so any 2 points, so we've got 2 points, there is exactly one line. So no matter what you do, like when I had y'all connect dots, it takes two to make a line. Now, if two lines intersect, this picture here, they're going to intersect at exactly 1 point. Oops. 1 point. Sorry about that. So 2 points make a line. Two lines intersect at 1 point. Now, if two planes intersect, then they intersect at exactly one line. And through any three non-collinear points, there is exactly one plane. So these last two, so if I have two planes, they're going to intersect at a line. And three non-collinear points, so you want three random points. So random point, random point, random point. Three random points will make a plane. Okay, so make sure you get all your definitions down and that you get any questions that you have over certain terms so that when we go over this in class, you know exactly what questions to ask. And I will see you then. Have a good one.